Okay, I have a question for you, and I need you to be honest with me.
Uh-oh. This sounds serious.
It is. How much time did you spend on your phone last night?
Huh. Okay, define spend. Are we talking about, productive reading and catching up on research, or are we talking about the abyss?
I am talking about the abyss, the deep, dark, visual abyss of Instagram and TikTok.
Right.
Because I fell into a hole last night, a really a deep and weirdly specific hole. I opened the app, expecting the usual stuff.
Sure. AI-generated cat videos, news from the Mars colony.
Exactly, the standard chaotic 2026 feed, but that is not what I saw. Not at all.
Let me guess. You saw 2016?
I saw 2016 everywhere. It was like the algorithm had decided collectively to hijack a time machine.
Yes.
It was just wall-to-wall 10 years ago photo dumps. The filters, my God, the heavy filters. Remember the Clarendon filter?
Oh, I remember. Everything was slightly blue and hyper-contrasted.
And the flower crowns, the fashion that we all thought was so cutting edge, but now just looks, well, it looks like 2016.
It looks dated.
Yeah.
But in a comforting way, right?
That's the thing. I didn't just scroll past it. I sat there and I'm embarrassed to say this, for an hour.
You got stuck. It happens to the best of us.
I got completely stuck. And it wasn't just a, oh, look at my bad haircut kind of curiosity. It was visceral. I felt this wave of comfort, for sure, but it was mixed with this heavy, aching longing. It felt good, but it also felt like I was mourning something I couldn't even name. And honestly, it freaked me out a little bit. Why are we all doing this right now? Is this just boredom? Is it just another viral trend? Or is my brain actually broken?
Your brain is definitely not broken. In fact, what you experienced and what millions of people are experiencing right now, if you look at the metrics, is a highly functional, even evolutionary mechanism at work.
Functional. It felt like I was wasting my life looking at a blurry photo of a burrito I ate 10 years ago.
But you're right to question it, because the way this trend is being reported in the news right now, it's, well, let's just say it's lacking in a little bit of nuance.
Lacking in nuance is the polite way of saying they're getting it completely wrong.
They're getting the science wrong.
Yeah.
And more importantly, they are completely missing the why. The reason it's happening now.
Which is exactly why we're doing this deep dive today. We need to figure out what this nostalgia trap actually is. Why does our brain seem to love 2016 so much? And I think this is the most important part. Can we actually do something with this feeling?
Other than lose an hour on a Tuesday night.
Yeah. Can we make it useful?
We can.
Oh.
And to help us navigate this, we've got some incredible source material. We're getting an exclusive early look at some of the core insights from a forthcoming book that really, I think, reshapes how we should think about this.
Okay, this is the part I'm really excited about. Because usually we're reacting to books that have been out for months, This is fresh.
Very fresh. The book is titled Gameful Intelligence, The Art of Thriving in the AI Era. And it's written by Dr. Elhanan Gazit.
I have been hearing that title whispered about in some tech circles, Gameful Intelligence. It sounds like gamification, but I have a feeling it's a lot deeper than that.
Oh, much, much deeper. And we should be really clear about the details here, since this is a preview. The book is being published by JuLoot Publishing House, and the estimated launch date is October 2026.
So we are basically time travelers ourselves today, getting a look into the future of publishing.
Yes.
We love a scoop. And just for, legal and ethical clarity, we should mention that all the material, the concepts, the frameworks we're going to discuss today are all rights reserved to Dr. Gazit. We're here to analyze and explore his work, but the intellectual property is his.
Absolutely. And the reason Dr. Gazit's work is so critical right now and why it fits this 2016 trend so perfectly is that he doesn't just view nostalgia as memory. He views it within the context of what he calls the AI era. He argues that we need a new kind of intelligence to thrive in this synthetic world we've built. And weirdly enough, looking backward is part of the strategy for moving forward.
That feels so counterintuitive. If I want to thrive in the AI era, shouldn't I be looking at, code? Shouldn't I be focused on the future? Why on earth am I looking at a blurry photo of a music festival from a decade ago?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? And to answer it, we first have to clear the decks.
Yeah.
We have to debunk the garbage science that has been circulating this week about this exact trend.
Okay, let's get into the debunking. I saw this news report yesterday. I won't name the network, but it was a big one. And they ran a whole segment on this. The headline was something like, "Scientists discover nostalgia switch in the brain."
I saw that one too. It made me cringe so hard.
They basically claimed that researchers have identified a special brain spot that triggers this nostalgia and that the spot is being, activated by social media. It made it sound like there's a literal button in my head labeled 2016, and TikTok is just pushing it over and over.
It's the classic neurosimplification. The media absolutely loves to find a God spot or a love spot, or in this case, a nostalgia spot.
It's easy if it's in a soundbite.
It makes for a great 30-second clip. But based on Dr. Gazit's work and the rigorous research he cites, I can tell you that is complete and utter nonsense.
So there is no button. My brain isn't a remote control.
There is no button. The brain doesn't work like a vending machine where you press B4 and you get a bag of memories. Dr. Gazit uses a much more accurate and, frankly, a much more beautiful metaphor. He describes the brain as an orchestra.
An orchestra. I want to pause on that because it changes the visual entirely. A button is simple, it's mechanical. An orchestra is complex, it's alive.
Think about a symphony. When you hear a complex piece of music, let's say it's Beethoven, you aren't just hearing a single violin, are you?
No.
If you only heard the violin, it wouldn't be the symphony. You're hearing the strings, the percussion, the woodwinds, the brass. They are all distinct, they're separate instruments, but they are playing in what Dr. Gazit calls a perfect fusion.
So in this analogy, nostalgia isn't one instrument playing a note. It's the whole song, the entire orchestra playing together.
Exactly. It's a massive coordinated event. And Dr. Gazit points to specific evidence for this. He cites a really important study by Yang and his colleagues from 2022.
Okay, let's dig into the science here. What did Yang and the team actually do? Because I want to understand how they know it's an orchestra and not, a single flute.
It's a great question. They used fMRI technology, functional magnetic resonance imaging.
So they're watching the brain in real time.
Exactly. Okay. Essentially, they put people inside a scanner, and then they induced nostalgia. They showed them images or played songs that were personally meaningful from their past. They were literally watching what the brain did at the exact moment of feeling nostalgic.
And if the news report theory were true, you'd expect to see one little spot light up.
A single, localized blip. The nostalgia spot.
The little button.
But that is not what they found, not even close. The scans showed what they call complex brain networks, lighting up simultaneously all across the brain.
Wow.
You had activity in the prefrontal cortex, the part that does, reasoning and decision-making. You had the amygdala, the emotional core. You had the hippocampus, the memory center, the striatum. It was a fireworks show.
So to go back to the orchestra analogy, the amygdala is providing the emotion, the feeling.
The amygdala is the percussion section. It's giving you that deep emotional punch, that feeling of longing you described.
Oh.
The prefrontal cortex is kind of like the conductor, trying to make sense of it all, putting it in context. This is a memory from college. But the hippocampus, well, the hippocampus has the most interesting job of all.
This was my absolute favorite part of the reading. Dr. Gazit refers to the hippocampus as the DJ?
The hippocampus as DJ. It's brilliant because it captures the active nature of what's happening. We usually think of memory like it's a filing cabinet, right?
It's passive. You open the drawer, you pull out the file, you read it. The file is just sitting there collecting dust until I need it.
Exactly. But a DJ isn't passive. A DJ is curating. A DJ is reading the room, choosing the next track to create a specific mood.
That's a huge shift in thinking about memory. It's not just storage, it's performance.
It is a performance. So let's break down this DJ's set list. According to Dr. Gazit's framework, there's a 3-step process happening here when you fall into that 2016 hole. Step 1 is spinning tracks.
Okay, so the DJ is digging through the crates, looking for the right record.
The hippocampus is scanning your entire database of long-term memories. It's not just randomly grabbing things. It's looking for a specific track, a specific vibe. In this case, it's looking for 2016. It pulls that record out of the crate.
And there it is, my blurry photo of a burrito.
But, and this is the crucial part, that the news reports, miss a record doesn't make a party if you don't have a sound system. You need speakers, you need an amplifier, you need bass.
You need to feel it.
You need to feel it. This brings us to step 2, the mix. The hippocampus does not work alone. It's a collaborator. It teams up with the brain's reward zones, specifically the ventral striatum and the dopamine pathways.
Dopamine, the brain's favorite drug, the feel-good chemical.
It's the brain's currency of motivation and pleasure. And Dr. Gazit cites another study here by Oba and their team from 2016, which is, kind of ironic given the year.
Perfect.
And they found that nostalgia is essentially a co-production. It's not just one department working. It's the memory system and the reward system working together to remix the past into something new.
Co-production, I like that. So it's not just, I remember this, it's, I remember this and it feels good to remember it.
Precisely. If the reward system doesn't fire, it's just a memory. It might even be a sad one or a neutral one. But when the DJ mixes that 2016 track with a shot of dopamine, it creates step 3, the result. Dr. Gazit calls this a dopamine reset.
A dopamine reset. That sounds like something I would pay a lot of money for at a wellness retreat. But why do we need a reset right now? Why is my brain demanding this specific mix in January 2026?
Well, just look around you. Look at the context of 2026.
It's intense. It's a lot.
We're living in the full swing of the AI era. The pace of change isn't just fast anymore, it's exponential. Jobs are changing constantly, reality itself is becoming synthetic. The news cycle is measured in seconds, not hours. Your brain is hyper-stimulated and frankly hyper-stressed.
It feels like the background noise level of life is constantly at an 11.
Exactly. And Dr. Gazit argues that in this kind of high-stress, high-change environment, the brain yearns for what he calls pre-AI, pre-chaos simplicity.
That's why 2016 feels so appealing. It wasn't actually a simple year. I remember it being pretty chaotic politically and socially.
Of course not. No year is perfect.
But compared to now, compared to a world of deepfakes and autonomous agents and constant algorithmic curation, it feels like a simpler time.
It feels human. It feels tangible. And this is the key point Dr. Gazit makes, citing more of Yang's work from 2023. This process isn't just about escapism. It is adaptive emotional regulation.
Can you unpack that phrase? Adaptive emotional regulation. Because escapism sounds like I'm being lazy or avoiding my problems. Regulation sounds like I'm doing something important and necessary.
That's the perfect distinction. Regulation means your brain is actively trying to stabilize your nervous system. It's a homeostatic process. You are stressed by the chaos of 2026. Your brain detects that stress, that high cortisol level.
It senses the room is getting tense.
Yes. So the hippocampus DJ says, okay, the vibe in here is way too tense. The cortisol is too high. I'm going to drop a track from 2016 that I know has a high association with safety, connection, and positive emotion.
It plays a comforting song to calm the room down.
It plays the track to trigger the reward system, which then releases dopamine and oxytocin, and that effectively lowers your cortisol levels. It's a biological survival mechanism. You aren't wasting time. You are self-medicating with your own personal history.
That is actually incredibly validating. It makes me feel much less guilty about that hour I spent scrolling through old photos. I wasn't procrastinating. I was regulating.
You were engaging in a complex neurobiological maintenance cycle.
I'm going to use that line on my boss. I'm not slacking off. I'm engaging in a neurobiological maintenance cycle.
Let me know how that goes.
But okay, we need to pivot to the other side of this misleading news report. Because they didn't just get the biology wrong. They threw around a very specific, very scary term. Social engineering.
Yes. The conspiracy angle. Always gets clicks.
The report basically said this viral trend is a form of social engineering designed to manipulate you. And when I hear social engineering, I think of hackers tricking people. I think of government psyops. I think of, 1984.
That's what they want you to think.
But Dr. Gazit says they're misusing the word completely.
It's a profound misunderstanding of the term. And it matters because these words shape how we perceive reality. To understand why it's so wrong, Dr. Gazit takes us back to the source. He references the German sociologist Ferdinand Tönnies.
Okay, so we're going way back now, 1905. This isn't some new tech term.
Not at all. Tönnies was writing at a time of massive social change, the shift from rural villages to huge industrial cities. And he defined social engineering very, very strictly. He defined it as a top-down process.
Top-down, so like a pyramid, with the government or some authority at the top making decisions for everyone else.
Exactly. Think of a city planner. An architect looks at a map and says the highway will go here, the bridge will go there, the residential zones are over here, the people must walk this way. It's a systematic, intentional redesign of society, using data, policy, and authority.
So something like China's social credit system, that's social engineering.
That is a textbook example of social engineering. Or a government changing the tax code to encourage people to buy electric cars. That's a softer form, but it's still social engineering. It is intentional, it is planned, and it comes from above.
Okay, so applying that strict definition to the 2016 trend, did Mark Zuckerberg or the CEO of TikTok send out a global memo saying, attention users, everyone must post about 2016 today?
No, that memo does not exist. The meeting never happened.
So it's not top-down. There was no architect.
It is the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Dr. Gazit defines this trend as an emergent phenomenon. It is bottom-up.
Emergent, meaning it just bubbles up from the people themselves. It creates itself.
Precisely. It arises from the collective, uncoordinated behavior of millions of individuals. The platforms, the TikToks and the Instagrams, they certainly push the content once it starts trending. Their algorithms are designed to amplify what's popular.
Sure, they pour gasoline on the fire.
They pour gasoline on the fire, but they didn't light the match. The initial spark, the energy, that came from us. Dr. Gazit puts it perfectly. Instincts pull.
Our instincts pull.
We, the users, felt that collective need for the dopamine reset we just talked about. We started searching for that feeling. We started posting. The algorithm just noticed the wave building. It didn't create the ocean. It just learned how to surf it really, really well.
That is such a crucial distinction, because if we think it's a top-down conspiracy, we give the platforms all the power, we become victims. But if it's emergent, it means we are the ones driving the bus, even if we don't realize it.
Exactly. It validates our agency in the system. However, and this is a very big however that Dr. Gazit emphasizes, just because the trend isn't social engineering, that doesn't mean there aren't bad actors trying to exploit it.
Right. Just because the party wasn't started by thieves doesn't mean thieves won't show up to the party to pickpocket the guests.
That is the perfect analogy, and this is where the real danger lies. Not in the algorithm itself, but in the security implications of these trends. Dr. Gazit cites reports from Trend Micro from 2025 and NCG from 2021 that highlight a very specific risk associated with viral nostalgia.
Is this about those quizzes? You know, the ones that say, what was your first concert, or what was the name of your first pet? Which are just security questions.
It's exactly that, but it has evolved to be much more sophisticated. The hackers know that when you're in a nostalgic state, when your hippocampus DJ is spinning those happy tracks and the dopamine is flowing, your skepticism is lowered. You are in a warm and fuzzy mode.
My guard is down. I'm thinking about my friends and good times, not about my firewall settings.
Correct. Dr. Gazit calls what they create FOMO-driven reward loops. Hackers see the trend. They see millions of people participating, so they create malicious versions of it. They might send you a message, maybe from a hacked account of a friend, saying, OMG, check out this video of us from 2016.
And because I'm already in that headspace, my first instinct is to click, not to question.
You click, and that link is phishing, designed to steal your new credentials. Or maybe they call you using an AI-cloned voice of an old colleague, pretending to be from a service you used back then. That's phishing or voice phishing.
That is just insidious, using my own memories as a weapon against me.
It's incredibly effective because it bypasses the logical prefrontal cortex and speaks directly to the emotional limbic brain. The key takeaway here is vital. Do not confuse the platform's engagement algorithms with malicious social engineering. The algorithm just wants your attention. The hacker wants your identity.
So enjoy the nostalgia, but keep your digital shields up.
Exactly. Don't let the rosy retrospection blind you to the reality of the web in 2026.
Speaking of rosy retrospection, I want to double-click on that term because, as we were saying earlier, 2016 wasn't actually perfect. I remember being stressed about work. I remember bad breakups. I remember how toxic the political climate was. But when I look at the TikTok feed, it's all golden hour photos. It's all smiles and parties. Why is my brain lying to me?
Your brain isn't lying to you. It's editing for you. This is the core concept of rosy retrospection. Remember our DJ.
The hippocampus.
The DJ has a filter button on the mixing board. When it retrieves memories for the specific purpose of nostalgia, it actively filters out or turns down the volume on the negative data and highlights, or amplifies the positive data.
But isn't that, I don't know, dangerous? Don't we need to remember the bad stuff so we don't repeat our mistakes?
In some contexts, absolutely yes. For learning and growth, you need the full picture. But for immediate emotional regulation, no. Dr. Gazit points out that this isn't a bug in our cognitive software. It is a feature.
A feature, not a bug.
Think about it from an evolutionary perspective. If we remembered the raw, visceral pain of every childbirth, or the crushing heartbreak of every breakup, or the paralyzing stress of every exam with the same intensity as the joy, we'd never do anything again. We'd be paralyzed by past trauma.
So the filter is there to keep us moving forward, to keep us willing to take risks.
It promotes well-being. It strengthens our connection to our past without weighing us down with all the baggage. It creates what Dr. Gazit calls a safe harbor.
A safe harbor. That makes so much sense. And it explains the view counts.
Yes. This is why 2016 content is reportedly getting 10x the views compared to a lot of modern content.
Yeah.
In a storm, and the AI era is a cultural and psychological storm, any port is valuable. But a safe harbor of shared, positive, filtered experience, that is just irresistible.
It validates us. It's like a collective signal that says, we were there. We existed before the robots took over everything.
It is, as he terms it, collective connection in a fractured world. It confirms your identity as a human being with a history in a world that feels increasingly ahistorical and machine-generated.
Okay, so we've built a really solid foundation here. We understand the biology. It's the whole orchestra and the DJ, not a button.
Right.
We understand the sociology. It's an emergent bottom-up phenomenon, not top-down social engineering.
Correct.
And we understand the psychology. The rosy retrospection filter is a feature, not a bug, designed to help us regulate our emotions.
We have diagnosed the phenomena. We've taken it apart.
But Dr. Gazit's book isn't just a diagnosis. It's a playbook. The title is Gameful Intelligence. And this is where I want to pivot. How do we move from just understanding this nostalgia trap to actually using it? How do we turn the trap into a tool?
This is the core of Dr. Gazit's entire philosophy. Most people stop at the diagnosis. They say, oh, I'm feeling nostalgic, and they just keep scrolling. That's a passive state. Gameful intelligence is about being active. It's about strategy.
I have to ask about the name, Gameful. Does that mean treating life like a video game? Is this about gamification, points and badges and leaderboards?
No, and Dr. Gazit is very careful to make that distinction. Gamification is usually superficial. It's about adding a leaderboard to a boring task to try and make it more engaging.
Right.
Gameful intelligence is much deeper. It's about adopting the mindset of a master player. It's about understanding the rules of the system, spotting the patterns, and then leveraging the underlying mechanics of that system to win.
And in this case, the system we're trying to master is our own brain.
It's our own neurobiology.
Exactly.
So Dr. Gazit offers 3 specific actionable strategies to use this wave of nostalgia as a competitive edge rather than just letting it wash over you.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's hit strategy 1.
Strategy 1, build your own 2016.
What does that mean? Like recreate the year?
It means consciously and deliberately creating a library of what Dr. Gazit calls your unbreakable wins. Think about professional athletes for a second. When a tennis player is in a slump or a quarterback keeps throwing interceptions, what does their coach have them do?
They watch tape, but they don't just watch the failures over and over. They watch their highlight reel.
They watch themselves winning. They watch the perfect serve, the game-winning touchdown pass. Why do they do that?
To remind themselves what they're capable of, to rebuild their confidence.
They are hacking their own nervous system. They're using the past to fuel the present. You could do the exact same thing with this nostalgia trend. Instead of just passively watching other people's highlight reels from 2016, you curate your own. Go back to 2016 or any year that's meaningful for you and actively find the moments where you overcame a significant challenge.
So not just the parties and the vacations.
No. Find the photo of you after you graduated. Find the email where you launched a difficult project. Find the moment where you felt competent, powerful, and effective.
And then what? Do I just look at it and feel good for a minute?
You journal the win. You don't just consume the memory. You analyze it. You write down, what skills did I use here? What strengths did I demonstrate? Who helped me? You turn the fuzzy memory into hard data about your own capabilities.
I see.
And then, when you're facing a massive AI-driven challenge at work today, and you feel overwhelmed and incompetent, you open that digital file. You don't just remember, you load the save state.
I love that gaming analogy. Load the safe state. It's like restoring my character to full health and full confidence before a big boss battle.
Exactly. You use that concrete past success to fuel your resilience against current challenges. It's not about living in the past. It's about extracting the fuel from the past to burn in the engine of the present.
That is incredibly powerful. It turns nostalgia from a passive feeling into an active resource, a battery pack.
That's the idea.
Okay, what is strategy 2?
Strategy 2. Think like a network.
This sounds social? About connecting with people?
It is. We often think of our professional network as the people we talk to today, the contacts in our phone right now. But Dr. Gazit points out that your network is 4-dimensional. It extends back in time.
We all have these dormant connections, people we were close with but have lost touch with.
Huge dormant networks. Think back to 2016. Who were you collaborating with on that big project? Who was your mentor back then? Who were the people who really challenged you and made you better?
I can think of 3 or 4 people right now who I haven't spoken to in 5 years, but it always feels, I don't know, awkward to just reach out of the blue. Hey, remember me from a decade ago?
But that is why the trend is a gift. The trend removes the awkwardness. It provides the perfect social license to reach out. You don't have to invent a reason. You find that photo, you send to them, you say, hey, saw this memory from 2016, and it made me think of the incredible work we did on Project X. How have you been?
The nostalgia becomes the icebreaker. It's a shared context.
It is the perfect icebreaker. But here's the strategic goal. It's not just to have a nice chat. Dr. Gazit is very specific about the objective. Reconnect and collaborate for mutual growth.
So it's about bringing them into my current world and seeing if there's a new connection to be made.
Exactly. You ask them what they're working on now. You tell them about the challenges you're facing in 2026. Research shows that when former colleagues get together and discuss past shared wins, it sparks new creative ideas. It drives group performance. You might find that the person you worked with in 2016 has developed exactly the skill set you need to solve your 2026 problem.
But I never would have found them if I hadn't taken the time to look back first.
Precisely. You are strategically reactivating a dormant node in your personal network.
I love that. Okay, what's the third strategy?
Strategy 3, iterate. Don't just reflect.
Factor A. That's a very developer-centric word.
It fits the Gameful Intelligence theme perfectly. Dr. Gazit suggests adopting what he calls a beta test mindset.
So I should treat my life like it's a piece of software in development.
In a way, yes. It's about treating your personal growth like a series of beta tests. When you look back at 2016, don't just look at what happened, look at the conditions that made it happen. Why were you so happy then? Why were you so productive? What were the variables?
Okay, so if I look back and realize, wow, I was really happy in 2016, and I look at the context and I realize, oh, I was walking to work every day instead of taking the Hyperloop, or I was part of a sports team, or I was cooking dinner instead of having it delivered by drone.
Exactly. You identify the variable, walking to work. Then you treat that insight as hypothesis. You say, hypothesis, a daily walk improves my mental state and creativity. And then you run a beta test in 2026.
I try it for a week, see what happens.
You try it for a week. You collect the data.
Yeah.
How did you feel? Did your focus improve? You experiment. You adapt. You use the past not as a painting to admire on a wall, but as a data set to mine for optimizations you can implement today.
That is such a fundamental shift. It's active, it's forward-looking, it's scientific.
As Dr. Gazit writes in the book, and this quote really stuck with me, the most adaptable people use nostalgia as a springboard for learning, not a safety net.
A springboard, not a safety net. That is the bumper sticker for this entire deep dive.
It really is. It sums up the whole philosophy.
Now, we've talked a lot about this on an individual level, me and my phone, me and my journal. But Dr. Gazit also applies this to organizations, to leadership. Can a company use nostalgia? Or is that too fuzzy and sentimental for the business world?
It is absolutely essential for business in this era. This is section 5 of our roadmap, institutionalizing nostalgia.
Institutionalizing.
Yeah.
That sounds a little bureaucratic and dry.
It sounds dry, but it's actually about building a resilient culture. Host, what is the single biggest problem that companies are facing in the AI era?
The pace of change, adapting to the new tools, and the fear of being replaced or becoming obsolete.
Fear, uncertainty, disorientation. How do you combat that as a leader? You can't just say, don't be afraid. You have to build confidence. Dr. Gazit suggests that leaders create rituals where teams regularly share stories of overcoming past challenges.
So instead of just talking about the Q3 sales goals, we should have a meeting where we talk about, I don't know, the great supply chain crash of 2022.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly that. Remember when the supply chain collapsed? Remember how we thought we were done for? And remember how Sarah in logistics pivoted and how the tech team built that workaround in 48 hours? Remember how we figured it out?
It reminds the team that they are survivors, that they've faced chaos before and won.
It reinforces a collective growth mindset. It provides hard evidence, irrefutable internal evidence that this specific group of people is adaptable. If you know you survived the last disruption, you are fundamentally less afraid of the current one.
You're building a kind of corporate immune system that's based on memory.
You are. You master the game.
Yeah.
Trends like this expose our wiring. The 2016 trend shows us what humans need in times of stress. Connection, safety, a sense of competence. The algorithms will always try to nudge us for engagement, but Dr. Gazit's core message is, you steer.
You steer, you take control.
You take the wheel. You see the feeling of nostalgia not as the destination, but as the fuel. You transform that fuzzy, passive feeling into focused forward motion. That is the definition of gameful intelligence.
Honestly, this has been a journey. We started with me feeling guilty and confused about my TikTok habit, and we've ended up with a strategic framework for navigating the future of humanity.
That's the power of a really good deep dive into a powerful idea.
But before we let everyone go, There is one final provocation from the source material. And I think this is the one that's going to keep me up tonight, in a good way.
It's the future forward twist. It's the final move in the game.
We've been asking all this time, what is your 2016? But Dr. Gazit flips the script entirely. He asks, what will your 2036 self thank you for starting today?
That's the question that changes everything.
Because right now, in this chaotic, messy, uncertain present of 2026, we are actively creating the good old days of the future. We're creating the memories our future selves will look back on.
It's hard to imagine, but in 10 years, you will look back at today.
Yeah.
You look back at the AI tools that we're all struggling with now, and they'll look quaint and simple.
I'll be nostalgic for my clunky old VR headset and my slow drone deliveries.
Will. So the takeaway, the actionable challenge is, act today in a way that creates an unbreakable win for your future self. Give your future hippocampus a great track to spin 10 years from now.
Be a good DJ for your future self. That is a beautiful way to think about living.
It is the ultimate application of the entire concept.
Well, I feel reset, I feel regulated, and now I feel ready to strategize. I want to remind everyone listening that today's deep dive was based entirely on Dr. Elhanan Gazit's fantastic upcoming book, Gameful Intelligence, The Art of Thriving in the AI Era.
Which again is published by JuLoot Publishing House, and it's coming out in October 2026.
We have only just scratched the surface of the Gameful framework. There's so much more in the full text about game mechanics, about AI integration, about the specific psychology of play. If this conversation sparked anything for you, you really need to check out his work.
You can find Dr. Gazit's articles, his ongoing research, and his other podcasts at www.mediaity.com.
And you can find more information about the book launch and his other major projects at www.JuLoot.com.
It really is a treasure trove for anyone trying to figure out how to stay human in an increasingly machine-driven world.
Stay curious, everyone. Keep learning. Go post that photo from 2016, but do it with a strategy. And maybe use it as an excuse to call that old friend.
And please, watch out for the Vishers.
And definitely watch out for the Vishers. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye, everyone.